That's funny. Okay, let's take it. Project just a bit more. Let's take it on
Project
from.
just a little more.
Yes, that's like that, man.
Like Jeff. Koinange.
Let's take this. Let's continue from your boy, Ted Jizzle, aka Ted Josiah.
So now, so Heart became this juggernaut that we had no idea would become. Because like I said, we were just a youth group, a bunch of youth who wanted to reach our generation. But what's ended up happening now, we became this entertainment juggernaut because we have the dance, we have the music, we have all these things going on. And we become a juggernaut. So something's happening to us at the same time. So because we're so controversial, and we didn't intend to be controversial. We bump into people who became icons in changing the way we were thinking. So musically speaking are big. So we go to musically speaking, we decide, let's go and talk to people who are in the industry, who know a little bit more about the industry. Maybe we can learn. So we end up in Joy Mboya's office. And she tells us...
Joy Mboya, who's now, what do you call it, the go down?
At the Arts Go Down, yes. She is the head kahuna right there.
Yeah, the head kahuna, the go down.
So, and Joy is absolutely our friend completely, and she falls in love with us and she tells us, you have to want to be successful. We never thought about being successful. Only Ted in our group had thought about because he's got the producer mind. We're just thinking the gospel. We are going to take the gospel to the nations. So some things started happening to us that had never happened to anybody before. So Joy says to us, look, we like you guys. Joy picks up the phone and calls Suzanne and says, Suzanne, you got to see these kids. You got to see these kids. So we haven't yet recorded. Notice we were not a recording group yet.
You were just used to go places.
We were just going and playing live. So we have a sequencer, keyboard, and what have you. We sing, we preach, we sing, we preach, we sing, we preach. So that's how we were operating. But Ted is seeing this is an outfit. We can make something here out of this group. I can make Heart into a machine. So and so even philosophically we began to disagree, because from a philosophical point of view, where I was coming from was, this is the gospel, it's got to be free. But Ted's looking at, you guys are broke. You need to sell some records and or some tapes or some CDs. You need to do something. We need to get paid. Please remember, guys are not getting paid for gigs.
It's illegal to ask for money.
It's a sin. Commandment number 11, the 11th commandment, thou shalt not ask for money
from the church.
From the church.
But thou shalt give the church.
So, musically speaking, heard about us. So we were trying to get recorded. So we went up to, and I got to tell you this, we were rejected. So we go up to this place that ended up being where the current Citizen TV is. There was a record label there that was located there. What was it called? I forget. Tamasha Records. So Tamasha Records, AI Records, all these guys turned us down. We submitted demo because those were the record labels that were working. So we go to AI Records, they didn't even call us back, didn't give us a time of day, whatever. We went to Tamasha. The guy who was there said, bring a demo. So we went and we worked on a demo that we recorded in the house, I think. Okay, no, I remember now. What happened was we went to Trans World Radio. Kwame Rubadiri, who was actually chaperoning, said, listen, there's a visiting producer from Germany, he can record. So we did a recording there of one or two songs. It didn't come out, I mean, it was a professional recording, but it didn't come out how we wanted it. But that served as a demo, so it's a good demo. So we go to Tamasha with this thing, and he listened to it. The guy didn't even look at us. He said, where's the demo? So this guy at Tamasha receives our demo, puts it on the table, and then whatever. So he says, don't worry, come tomorrow. So we leave. We come back the next day, Ted and I. By the way, we've walked to that place from wherever we were. We walked. We didn't have, we're broke. So cheapest way to get to the place is you drive your Lexus.
And your Subaru.
Yeah, and so here we are with our Subaru and our Lexus, and we get to this place. So we've walked, we're perspiring. We smell how every aspiring artist who's walked to the place smells.
Joshua.
Yeah, and he doesn't even look at us. He says, gives us back the demo while he's looking this other side, busy on the mixer or whatever it is, and says, go and work on your music. And I was like, you didn't even listen to it. And I was like bewildered. Ted got mad. He got quiet, so I knew he was mad. This is what Ted decided. He said, I will never try and prove myself to any producer again. That day, Heart's fate was sealed. We would become the biggest thing in gospel music in that season because of being rejected.
What?
So rejection is not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
In fact, if you ask me, the places you get rejected are sometimes the best places of learning, where you understand that my chops weren't good enough. How I thought I was so bad, because I can sing and I can blow. I sing really well and I could sing, but this guy hasn't even given me. I was saying in the back of my mind, if he could only hear me sing, if he could see me, I would capture his imagination. Oh, forget that. You never have. You only have one opportunity to make a first impression. And this is why I've, since that day, decided that every time I'm going to make a first impression, and I know I'm aware that I'm going to make a first impression, I better make a good one.
Yep.
Whether it's CBN, TBN, or anything, no BN.
No bien.
I am going to make an effort in trying to put my best foot forward. You don't hold back. Never hold back. I always say to young people, listen, why are you singing into the wall? You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am in the audience. I might be the head of BMG. This is how Mariah Carey got discovered. What's her name? Alicia Keys. Somebody heard her singing at a church and called Clive Davis and said, you gotta see this kid. And he drove halfway across the city to where this girl was playing and caught the tail end, signed her immediately.
What?
Immediately.
I didn't know that story.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stories you don't know. Oh, I have stories.
Okay, do tell. So what happens now? You guys are, this guy rejects you. You guys are now with
So
Suzanne.
we decide, no, there's nobody you're with.
Oh, you're solo.
Jinsi nilivyo kuu.
Oh, so
Jinsi nilivyo. The way I am is the way. So we say we're going to practice like nobody's business. And so one day Limitex comes back into the country and they say something that just clicks in our minds. They say every day we practice. So we get into an everyday regimen as though we're going to work. 8 a.m. we come in there and we pray. But what I do is I get up like at 4 or 5 in the morning and spend my time praying for an hour or two. I'm just walking around the garden and praying and saying, God, give us a breakthrough. God, give us a breakthrough. If it's not today, tomorrow. It's not tomorrow, the next day. It's not next day, next week. Give us a breakthrough. Give us a breakthrough. So Limitex, we made a connection, and basically it's either a phone call or a letter. There's no email. There is no email.
This is like 94.
So they send us a letter and say, we really like what you're doing. And they sent the letter through Kwame Rubadiri at Transworld Radio. They make a connection at Transworld Radio. They send a letter to us and say, dear heart, we really love you. We believe in you. Here's our new CD. And here's $50 because we believe we want to sow some seed in this. $50.
Wow.
US dollars. Bruh. So that's like, at that time, what's the rate? The exchange rate was like 40 bob or something like that, 40 or 60 bob. So suddenly we have money to do something. So I think we bought costumes. So notice what we did. We didn't spend the money on some big pizza and
Java.
blowing out. We bought costumes. Java? What?
There's no Java, I know, but I'm just throwing it there.
There was just snow cream.
Oh yeah, snow cream in Tao.
Yeah, you go to snow cream or you go home. Or Wimpy, that's it.
Yeah.
So, and so certain things started happening to us at that time. And it's just at the right time. So one of the things that happened was we met Joy and Musically Speaking, who introduced us to Suzanne. Suzanne says, come, we have a studio. And let's hear what you guys have. So we take a demo. And so we're at Samawati there. And we're intimidated. We're intimidated because this is Musically Speaking. They've toured, you know, they're not just Kenyan. These guys are, they've broken borders, you guys. These guys are at another level. So we're saying, in the back of my, Ted is, in his mind, he's saying, we can even outdo these guys. I mean, Ted is that angry. He's that angry. He was the angry kid. And he was angry because, like I said, he got kicked out of home. The church had a particular beef with Ted because Ted made some personal choices that got him in trouble. And that stuff, the church really frowned upon, and I think still doesn't give people a break, because to many people, if you fall, then you're done. And I remember they treated him mean. One of the elders, I treated him that rough, man. I would never treat somebody like that, and never gave him a chance. And I mean, even now as I'm a pastor, when people come to me and say, Pastor, man, I fell, I got this chick pregnant, or man, last week I was back again, I've relapsed, I'm going back to drugs, or what have you. Here's a kid who's trying. And what you can say to him is that you're not good enough. Because I don't think the church understood who Pete Odera would become. I don't think they understood that this was the Ted Josiah. Because
Ted Josiah.
he did not have a "the" in front of his name. They didn't understand that this was the Sally Oyugi. They didn't understand that this girl called Esther was the future pastor at Joshua Generation Ministries. People didn't understand. I got into an argument with Wahu's family. Wahu's sister came to me because later, of course, Wahu was my best friend's kid sis, who walked into my life. I've seen this kid since she was 5. Growing up, we were in the same primary school. And so later on, she comes to me, and I got into a fight with her sister, because I said to her sister, you don't really know who this girl is. I could see who she was going to become. So now, back to the story where we go to Samawati, Suzanne looks at us, she likes us because we've got pizzazz. And we're not like any other Christians she knows. All other Christian bands have a black and white uniform with a tie. And we are like, we've got braids and earrings, and this is the guys. The girls are like colorfully dressed, and everybody's got their shades on, and we're looking like how hard the band looked now back then, and how Sauti Sol look now, but back then. And we're cool, and we don't say praise the Lord, everybody. We're just talking normal English. They could see these guys are spiritual, these guys are cool. At the same time, these guys know what they're serious about music. Suzanne says, let me talk to her husband at the time, Guido. And so we wait for Guido. So guess who's coming back into my life?
Guido
Kibukosia.
What? Did he remember you from kid days?
Of course, I was a kid who he didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
But because I was Gordon's nephew, something rang at the bell at the back of his mind. And so Gideon's a tough guy. He's tough to impress. And I'm not allowed to say as the pastor what he doesn't take.
No.
But Tim Rimbui said it in the other whatever. Let's just call it bovine refuse. He doesn't take any bovine refuse, and he can see right through you.
Yeah.
So he could see right through us. He saw that we were nervous. He saw that we're trying. So he's looking at us and saying, "I know." He says, "Leave your demo. Come tomorrow." So next day he comes late. Oh, you guys are here. He was testing us.
Exactly.
He was testing us. He wanted to see, are we going to come on time?
Exactly.
Are we serious about this thing?
Are you going to even come?
We were early. They hadn't even opened by the time we were there.
You're there.
And so we're there. And Ted and I are there because, of course, we woke up at 5 to pray. Hello.
This was your break.
I said, hey, dude, I'm not playing with my future. So Ted has his mind on, he's going to make the best gospel group that this country has ever seen. Our soundlers like Shalimar, New Edition, and there was an old group called Makonde together. I remember John Karaoke writing about us in the newspaper saying he's never heard of a Kenyan group like ours since Makonde.
What?
Tasso Stefanu and Makonde were a generation before us. I was a kid when I would hear their songs on radio. For those who are watching, do your homework. Tasso Stefanu and Makonde. The biggest compliment was for John Karaoke to write, and John Karaoke was mean when he would write his articles. If he wrote an article about you and it didn't cut it, you were nothing. But he had only good things to say about us. This is a gospel group. Gospel groups just didn't cut jack. And secondly, this is a Kenyan group, and we were being compared with people who are on another level of performance. So we're at Guido's studio, and he's looking at us, and he looks in that with a sneer on his permanent sneer on his face, and he says, "Come tomorrow, we'll start." What we didn't know is that what we didn't know is that he knew that we didn't have money, because we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
We had a few thousand shillings that we saved up. And secondly, what we didn't know is that Samba Mapangala was coming to record. He was coming to record at Samawati. And he had been calling these guys every day, I want to record. Guido shelved Samba
For you guys.
for us guys.
That means it's something he must have had that he was like, yo.
I said, when I found this out later, that's why I say there's some people in the industry, if they call me, I'm right there. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good, man.
I'm gonna breathe.
Yeah.
And he gave us a break. Suzanne and Guido gave us a break and said, okay, let's record. And so we started. And our work ethic was insane. Guido had never worked with local artists, with any artists who had that kind of work ethic.
Serious.
Because we didn't drink, we didn't smoke, we kept time, we didn't lie, we were on time. If we said yes, it was
practice.
yes. And if you know the US recording industry, all the big names, all the music directors and bands are church kids. I know many of them. Are church kids from the tours that I've done now. I find the guy who plays with Big Band X is at Bishop so-and-so's church every Sunday morning, and he's playing the organ. He's at so-and-so's church and he's the drummer. I said, well, because the discipline. You've been singing in church since 5 years old. You've been playing drums since you could walk. How is this ethic? And so this is the thing that we're bringing to the recording industry, because Guido's coming from heritage. He's coming from his dad writing the national anthem. Because many people don't know that the words that were written, Guido's dad was writing the song that we now sing as the national anthem. So these kids in the band that Miles and Marcus were in Camp Mula's heritage is Kenya's national anthem, hands down.
Because Camp Mula's producer, I think it's called Marcus, is Guido's son.
Yeah. So Marcus is called Marcus after Marcus Miller. Miles is called Miles after Miles Davis.
You're killing me.
That's what it is. We saw these kids growing up, and what's his name? Tall guy in Camp Mula is
Tio.
His thingy's son from Super Mazembe.
Shapaman.
I forget his name. But the heritage of Camp Mula is Super Mazembe and Musically Speaking. So these are kids who are coming after us. So they've seen us growing up. They saw us walking into the studio.
That's crazy.
So they're there sucking their thumb and looking at these kids saying, who are these guys? Eventually becoming the trendsetters and pace setters for the new generation.
I mean, dude, how many years, not to stray,
that's 50 years.
But that's 50 years of Guido's existence and relevance. That's crazy.
So we didn't know that these guys were, you imagine, Guido was playing in African heritage. He's now he was now our producer. You can imagine what this is doing to my mind.
Yeah.
It's doing to my mind. And in the middle of the recording, we do it badly. he's saying, I don't give a bleep, do it again. So here you are, you're coming from a gospel background, you have to work with people who swear, who smoke, who have a different philosophical background from you, but you still have to deliver. There's Christians who just go and start to trip just because somebody's not a believer and in the same room, as though they're breathing different air. Without respect. We don't have respect. Many of our gospel artists just don't have respect for other people, let alone themselves, for other people.
Yeah.
So I feel that that's another thing that era taught us, is to have respect for people who achieved and are doing something in a field.
Yes.
Now let me tell you what Guido and Suzanne did. So we said, how much do you owe us? Because we wanted to pay. And this is the deal we struck with them. We said, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to record, we're going to make these albums, and then we'll take a percentage. You guys will take a percentage from what we make. So Guido said, okay. But he said it smiling.
Yeah.
Their plan was to never take any money from us. And they never asked us for a dime. That recording for Heart's first album was on the house.
They recorded a full
gospel album.
They didn't have to do one jam.
On the house. That's the generosity that they had towards us. We owe Guido and Suzanne everything we became. Because those records opened doors for us in places we couldn't imagine.